My name is Chris Malenko, owner of Underground Wrestling Alliance, and we're going to do this podcast today to talk about our go-home show and the pay-per-view with Sinister Summer. But before we get into any of that, as the owner of UWA, we are always out scouting for new talent across different promotions, different leagues here in the community. And I have a panel with me today. First, sitting over here to my left-hand side, right next to me, is Seth Schmidt. How's it going, bud? And then we also have sitting next to him on the other side is Casey Marr. How's it going, bud?
Yo, pretty good, pretty good.
All right, and then sitting on my right-hand side, right next to me, is Nicholas Rodriguez. What's going on, bud?
What's good in the hood?
All right, so before we go ahead and get into the go-home show and the pay-per-view, I want to go ahead and welcome you guys officially to the UWA roster. Very happy to have you guys here with me. And with us here, hopefully that you guys can build a name for yourself amongst the UWA fans. If you guys haven't seen our product recently, you might want to, because these South Philly fans are very, very hard to impress. As you guys know, Philadelphia was the home for ECW. We pride ourselves in what the fans want and what we will want to give the fans in a product. So I want to go ahead and start with Seth. So, Seth, you have been a homegrown talent in BCW. You've also been an owner of, or a co-manager for Heel Turn Wrestling. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background on where you started, how you got into professional wrestling, how you found yourself being a promoter, and how you feel that you're going to progress here in UWA, and what is your main goal stepping through our doors here in one of the biggest hardcore promotions in the community. Plug City. Jericho making big moves right now in New Japan, being Intercontinental Champion. Absolutely. Yep. Fellow Canadian, I hear that you're from Canada originally, but you have moved and traveled all across the United States and even to Australia, putting a name for yourself out there on the independent market. So, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Congratulations on YouTube, by the way. All right.
Damn.
So, moving forward here, you got signed to BCW. I had heard that you and Bullets had met up with your trip over to Australia. He had came out there to scout some talent. I believe Evolve was doing a show out there. Why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about how you were introduced to Bullets and how your time moving into BCW came about? you had won a championship in BCW within, I believe your first few months there. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about that a little bit? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now we heard that you and Diego had a little bit of a fallout during your last little bit of reign as champions. What exactly happened with that? Yeah. He's not very well liked in our locker room, as you guys may have seen on Sinister Summer and our Go Home show. Coming into the back and attacking, at the time, our current TV champion, um, Simon Oxley. And then UWA management and myself had talked about it. And, I really don't like the fucking kid. And I think he's a punk. And he proved that at Sinister Summer. Um, Coming in, balls to the wall, and attacking our TV champion is a good way to get yourself noticed. However, it's also a good way to get yourself filled with consequences and put into matches that you're not going to like, that won't end in your favor. And that's exactly what we did with Diego as kind of a little bit of a punishment from us. So putting him into what was originally supposed to be a triple threat match between Melvin Brown, A2J, and Simon Oxley, and then it turned into a fatal four-way. And Diego had gotten knocked out a lot during that match. Just couldn't find his flow, and ultimately left to his defeat. And current champion A2J is getting ready to face next week for the belt Melvin Brown, and then Simon Oxley and Diego Riley have a grudge match. So, but yeah. Moving on forward from that. So what is your goal here, Seth? In UWA? Is it to be a champion? Is it just to make a name for yourself? Is it to put the locker room on notice? Give us a little bit on why you're here in UWA. Well, it's heard. Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen. Technical difficulties. We apologize.
Yeah.
Apologize immensely for that. So
That's unfortunate.
that is unfortunate. Yeah, anything
A lot
can
of
happen
good shit
here
was
in
said,
UWA.
bro. Damn.
I know. Nah, it'll be all right. So we're going just a little bit of a recap. Seth Schmidt originally signed with BCW. I believe you're still signed with BCW full time. Just got signed to UWA. This guy is from Canada, had done his travels, moved to Baltimore, and then went to Melbourne, Australia, made a name for himself a little bit out there, and then ultimately got signed from Bullets onto Bullets Championship Wrestling. Ended up becoming a UWA one-time tag, or a BCW one-time tag team champion. I'm sorry, Seth. And with Diego Riley, he pretty much ultimately had turned on Diego. Diego's ego got the best of him, and talked a little bit about Diego just a little second ago. So, Seth, what is your end game here in UWA? Like I had asked before, is it to become a champion? I mean, I'm pretty sure that's everybody's end game here is to hold that coveted UWA title that West Lightning is currently holding. And I know that you and Wes have bad blood, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But is it just to put the locker room on notice right now? Is it to come in, just make a name for yourself? Is it to just to captivate the fans and maybe captivate the management to probably bump your way up through the power rankings? Like, what is your end game coming through one of the biggest hardcore promotions in the community right now?
Is all the above acceptable answer? I mean,
right.
I'm here to do anything and everything.
All right. So you'll be making your debut in 2 weeks. And I believe that management is possibly working with you to have a match against Wes, just pretty much as a float over grudge match from BCW. From my understanding, it's a non-title confrontation. But that doesn't really mean anything here. As we saw yesterday, Isaac Ward had a non-title conference against West Lightning, and he won. And then we're going to get into the controversial side of that later, because West Lightning did retain his UWA championship. But like I said, we'll get into the full details of that here in a bit. But moving forward now, Casey Marr.
Why, yes.
Bro, I've seen your work. Absolutely outstanding, man. You put it in
Let's get it.
every fucking week or every single show on LWW for Legacy. For those who don't know, that's Legacy World Wrestling.
Yes.
Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a background about yourself and where you came about
All right.
and how you was able to step foot in this world that we love so much called professional wrestling.
I've been watching wrestling since I was like 6. So it's a pretty long time. And I've always wanted to, become a wrestler. I always, dreamed of being like one of them because wrestling's badass. It's fucking awesome. Everybody knows that. And this experience so far is pretty great. I've been in this league for like 3 months in Legacy, and I'm already a champion. And I feel like I could do a lot more.
Your first ever Intercontinental champion.
Yes, first ever IC
LWW.
champion, and I beat a pretty big name. I beat Derek, and we have been having a pretty big bomb-ass feud for a long time.
Derek Durpin is by far one of the best talents that they have on the roster in LWW.
Yes, he really is. One of the best heels in the making.
Yeah, he is.
He's great. And it's hard to believe this all started from a little tables match on this show Outbreak. It all started from just a tables match, and then I beat him when he got pissed, and then average heel face story. And
So,
we ended up having a match
you're
for the
from
title.
Houston, right?
Yes, I am
Yeah,
a Houstonian, my dude. It's pretty great down here.
Spent a
Wait,
little
what?
time down in Houston for a little bit and was able to scope out a couple of your independent matches before you got signed to LWW. Very impressed by you. So that's why I'm glad to have you here. So
Glad to be here.
how did you end up getting mixed up with LWW?
Well, I basically just in an independent match, they saw me and they were like, I forgot how it fully went. It was like, he said he basically liked how I wrestled. He said it looked pretty fucking badass, and I was like, thank you, my dude. And then he asked me if I wanted a contract, and I was like, I mean, why not? Because Legacy was a pretty small promotion at the time. It's obviously gotten big now, but it was it looked pretty good, honestly. They had a lot of good ass wrestlers. Like they had like Derek in there. They had Zach Flame. He's annoying as fuck, but I mean, still, he's a good wrestler.
Hey, Zach Flame signed here, bud, and he's actually made a name for himself here. I mean, dude's what, 120 pounds soaking wet?
Flame. I'll be willing to extinguish that flame. And I mean, honestly, I am. They have a lot of other people. Like example, like Nick is a pretty fucking good ass wrestler,
And we'll get to him
he's
here
in
in
this
just a
league too.
second.
Yeah, we'll get to Nick in a little bit, obviously. And yeah, there's a lot of pretty good ass people in our league. I mean, there's a lot of good ass people in here, and it's just I'm willing to just try to beat everybody and just try to do everything I can and win every title and et cetera,
I'm really trying to help out here and plug LWW in this. How is it working with Eddie Vengeance?
It's pretty good, actually. They booked me pretty good, so I'm satisfied. But I mean, yeah, it's working pretty good with him. He's pretty
You
cool.
got anything
I like the dude.
coming up anytime soon, LWW related? You getting ready
I can't
to?
I can't say everything, but I'm in a main event match with Derek for the IC title, and we're doing a pretty intense match. I can't say it yet because I don't know if he wants me to classify what it is yet, but
That's fine.
it'll be a pretty good match. Pretty good match.
Looking
I
forward
say.
to it. Looking forward to it. So,
Yeah,
end
me
game
too.
for
Me
you
too.
here joining at UWA. Obviously, you've seen our product. Obviously, you know
Yes.
what we're about. How is it going to be transitioning from a traditional pro wrestling style to more of a hardcore wrestling style? Have you done any kind of conditioning or anything like that to try and get yourself ready to get hit with kendo sticks and tables and ladders and chairs? And,
Kind of. I've kind of been ready. Like, I mean, I had a tables match with Derek that was pretty intense. I almost got put through a table a couple times, but I mean, hey, I won. But still, I almost got put through that shit. It kind of hurts, obviously. And like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm ready. Honestly, I'm ready to do everything I can to be the best person I can be. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I'm not gonna be a salty asshole.
any championship that you're looking to go after first, maybe here in UWA, or you just kind of just here just to set a pace for yourself and
I'm here to set a
eventually
name for
move?
myself. Yeah, just eventually do everything I can.
Well, the best way to do that, man, is to come out with victories here. That's how we reward
Yes.
our talent. As you can tell, Christy Bennett, who is by far, in my opinion, one of the best women's wrestlers on the community currently right now in any league, came in with her
Yeah,
first
she
debut
is.
match. End up beating Ember Gray. That was a fantastic match to kick off our
Emma
go-home
Gray is
show.
hell of a wrestler too.
Oh, hell yeah. And with beating her, Ember is a defined champion. She holds 3 women's championship belts from 3 different organizations. So for Christy Bennett to beat her, management obviously had seen something in her. So they put her in a steel cage match against Warlock Bex from ICW. And she actually beat her in the steel cage match and is our current women's champion. So as you can tell, championships are not given out here. You have to earn them, but put on a great showing, and I'm telling you that will definitely have you rise through the power rankings here. Is there anybody on our current roster that you wouldn't mind working with?
Uh, Nah, I'll just go with whoever y'all, whatever matches I get, and I'll take that.
Well, we're going to move on to Nick here, and the next segment that I want to do after we get done interviewing with Nick is actually your guys' debut match happening next weekend in a Fatal 4-Way showcase. But before we get into that, Nick Rodriguez, Bud, I'm very impressed by you. I must say that now. You and Casey as a tag team just impressed the holy shit out of me. And I love tag team wrestling. Tag team wrestling on our show is by far one of the largest things that gets over with the fans. And if for the fans that don't understand kayfabe reasons or wrestling terms, getting over is pretty much like fans popping for you, whether it's for a negative or for a positive. It really doesn't matter. But your fan base in LWW is large for both of you as a tag team, and for both of you singular as well in your own singles careers. But Nick, give us a little bit of background about yourself. Where'd you come from? How'd you get into pro wrestling? Go ahead and give us a little bit of a rundown on who you are and how your style is.
So, I basically have grown up with wrestling just as most kids were. At a very young age, me and Casey had met when we were younger, and we had both decided at that moment, hey, let's be wrestlers together. We've both been, like, wanting to pursue this dream, and now that we actually have the opportunity to pursue this dream, like, it's amazing. And I originally remember I wasn't going to pursue the dream because I had personal demons that I was dealing with, but I had realized wrestling took me out of that hole and put me into a new light. And without wrestling, I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't be where I am today without wrestling.
That's awesome, man. So you're also signed with Legacy World Wrestling, am I correct?
Yes, I am. I'm actually current and the first ever heavyweight champion.
Nice. That's a good thing to have underneath of your belt there, bud. Awesome. Good shit. So you and Casey were tag team champs for LWW. And you know, like I said, I love your guys' work, both in your singles careers and in your tag team career. So give us a little bit of a rundown on how you got introduced to LWW, how Eddie Vengeance had approached you, and you ultimately signing to them.
It's kind of weird how I met them. I had actually met them at a different promotion. I was working for my first promotion. I'm gonna mention them. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. They're NWF. They're also a really good promotion. Their boss, Johnny Carter, amazing dude. He's such a a swell guy to have in the locker room. And I actually met the boss. Don't fire me. I forgot his name already. What was it? I met him at NWF after I had just won the TV title, which I'm still currently holding, and he had saw my work against Connor Brooks, and he had saw how in our last man standing match I took it to the extreme. I ended up finding out a few days later that the elbow that I had hit Connor Brooks with, I had Connor Brooks on a announce table. I went from top rope to the announce table, and from what they said, I could have killed Connor Brooks. Luckily, I didn't get my elbow close enough to his heart, but I took pity on him. So I've kept his title safe, currently safe around my waist, and it's just what it is.
Do you see yourself maybe facing Connor anytime soon when he possibly recovers from his injuries, or anything else like that in the future, maybe?
I really don't see him wanting to face me, and it's all Johnny's decisions and his mom's decisions if they want to put Connor through the pain of facing me again. I mean, if I was close to killing him the first time, I mean, I know this sounds messed up, but what could I do the second time? Like, for all I know, shit's gonna go down, and it's gonna go down hard.
In the terms of old John Cena when he came in, you're just filled with ruthless aggression, bud. And that fits our roster here in UWA. Have you watched our product, or have you just heard of us through word of mouth?
I had just heard of you guys, like I said, at the TV tapings, or well, the fusion tapings for NWF. I was introduced, and I decided to just sit back and just watch, and it was pretty amazing. And I had to think for a little bit if I wanted to, go with the promotion or keep my promotion slimmed down. It's actually currently right now, I am now in 4 leagues as of now. LWW, NWF, Hawaiian City Wrestling, so I have to go all the way to Hawaii so I can wrestle, and here in UWA.
I heard that travel for your schedule being a part of all of those 3 different promotions is pretty hectic. Why don't you give us a little bit of insight about that?
It's kind of hard having to go just all around the world. I don't get to have personal time. Like when I was younger, I used to have all personal time. I used to think, when I become a wrestler, I wish I can just sit at home and do, wrestler things. But then, like I said, it's such a hard schedule. We're going all around the world, and then HCW where I have to go to Hawaii. It's just hectic. And with having 4 promotions that I'm in right now, I think that's going to be probably one of the toughest things that I'm going to have to deal with. My sleeping schedule is going to be screwed up terribly.
All right. So I've been asking the other two this question, and it's not going to change. I want to ask you the same thing. Coming into UWA, knowing that we're a hardcore promotion, what is your end game here? What is your goal in UWA? I know that everybody's goal is to become a champion. We're just gonna cut the bread and butter with that. But seriously, coming into UWA, into a promotion that you've only heard of word of mouth and only probably have seen a couple of our shows, are you hesitant due to the hardcore side of our promotion, or do you feel that you can withstand anything that us in management, myself as being an owner, will put you through? Do you have the confidence in yourself to move forward and possibly become a champion one day? Give us a little bit of insight on how you feel about being a part of one of the largest hardcore promotions here in the community.
Personally, I think I am going to be able to withstand it. In my few years of wrestling, I've had multiple near-death experiences. I've had, like I said, the last man standing match. I was actually dropped headfirst onto steel steps. The doctor said I was super close to, like, paralyzing myself. Luckily, I'm still able to wrestle, even though I'm very much of a dumbass for still wrestling. Multiple times where I've fallen off ladders from multiple foot drops. Luckily, I've had tables break my falls, the announcer thing, chair shots to the head, multiple blood losses, and just chair shots to my face. I've also lost a few teeth. Actually, I was hit with a pipe by Connor Brooks during the last man standing match, so now my tooth is chipped. So if you ever hear me like sound weird, that is why, because I have a chipped tooth. But yeah, I think I can honestly withstand the hardcoreness of UWA, and I am going to show everyone in UWA that I might be underrated in the community, even though personally I don't think that. Some people do, and sometimes I can agree with them, and I'm going to show everybody that I am meant to be here. I belong, and I can play with the big dogs.
That's what's up, and this is a pretty big yard, man. We got a lot of big dogs here. So we're going to move forward into talking about our Go Home show, which was our UWA TV live earlier in the day on Saturday. So I wanted to talk to Seth for a minute because Seth knows Diego pretty much better than anybody else. No offense to Casey or Nick. But with Diego being homegrown BCW talent, Seth would be able to give more of a little bit of an insight on Diego and possibly his thought process coming in thinking he's the shit. Now, listen, I'm all for one having confidence. Okay, as a professional wrestler, being a part of this business, you need to have confidence within yourself. You need to have confidence within your opponent. However, Diego, on the other hand, just seems to just have confidence within himself, and he thinks that he's this big, overblown, egomaniacal, hardcore icon, and he came in and he attacked Simon Oxley. Did you hear about anything about this, Seth, being in BCW locker room? I know that he's been talking shit to me personally and about UWA, and then found out the hard way, ultimately at Sinister Summer. But did you hear Diego anything, like, while I'm not around or whatever, say anything about UWA that maybe you might want to put here on the podcast and make it public?
Me personally, no, I haven't heard him say anything because I try to stay as far away from him as possible.
I mean, he is a little punk-ass kid, and we're not even going to front on that.
Yeah, at least you don't sugarcoat it, man. That's good.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have seen the kid work. He's not a bad worker. His promo skills are, one of a kind. He's a very good, as what we call in the business, a heel. He's definitely not a babyface. But for me, seeing him, he puts himself on this pedestal just because he was a BCW hardcore champion. And I'm not giving that against anybody because, Seth, we all know, the Hardcore Championship in BCW is one of the most prestigious titles that you guys have in your roster. But...
Well, I mean, now it is.
Well, yeah. I mean, given who's holding it.
Yeah, boy.
So, but give us a little bit of a rundown on how Diego is. I mean, Diego's not here, obviously, to defend himself, so this will be a third-party view on Diego. But you worked with Diego close hand. You were tag team partners, tag team champs. Give us a little bit on Diego's thought process going into a match, maybe, if you know anything about that.
He just thinks he's all that. Like, he thinks he can beat anyone at anything. I mean, he didn't win that Fatal 4-Way. Not your Fatal 4-Way, but the Fatal 4-Way for #1 contender for the BCW Hardcore Championship. I mean, I was in it, but I didn't win it either. But under hardcore rules, your boy took advantage of that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, he's Punk. That's short, simple. That's what he is.
Yep. So I mean, he's come out like fucking publicly and has attacked me, attacked UWA verbally, publicly over his stories and over his Instagram posts, saying that there's nobody in UWA that can hold a match to him. But Zach Flame can hold a fucking a wildfire compared to Diego Riley. I'm just being dead honest.
Zach Flame, we started on him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to other people, yes, he's young in the business. The kid is only like 18, 19 years old. So like, I mean, but he puts in work. I'm not going to discredit anything from Zach Flame. He's been in UWA now for about a month and a half, almost 2 months, and has made a name for himself. He's gained a following here. I mean, he's good in the ring, and he's a fantastic dude in that heel persona on the mic too. So I'm not going to discredit anything from Zach, but if you have anything to say about Zach, Casey, now would be the best time to do it and make it public.
I'm a wait.
I'm a wait.
Because, like, I just keep running. I'm not trying to fucking destroy shit yet.
Yeah, I don't really think we need to talk about Ninja Chaz.
Let's not talk about Ninja Chaz.
Oh my god. He
That's
came
the
into
gayest name I've fucking heard, bro.
He came into NWF thinking he's the hot shit, and I'm like, this is my territory. I was IC champion at the time, and he's sitting here thinking that he can face off against me for my title when he didn't deserve anything. Coming in, I'm Ninja Chaz. I'm gonna flip and do shit.
Did he even have a match?
No, he hadn't even had his first match yet.
So I don't. Reigns ain't finna push his ass.
It's lucky that he has decided to turn his whole career around, because if he didn't turn his career around, no one would know him, and he would be a laughing stock to the community. I'm just gonna say that right now.
And you're talking about who again? I'm sorry.
Well, Ninja Chaz, right?
Formerly known as Ninja Chaz.
Oh man. I bet that was a fucking, like, horrible gimmick.
Yes, it was.
Not gonna lie, bro, that was bullshit. Hell nah.
Well,
Ninja
as
Chaz
we
was
all
just like
know,
Roman.
Zach Flame is formerly known as Zach Best in LWW. He has also changed his name to Zach Flame now. And to be honest with you, I dig the name change. Best is a very overrated term used
for him, especially.
I'm not even going to touch that subject.
We're not going to sugarcoat it. We're like, I'm right. We all know.
Casey got some strong words for Mr. Zach Flame, man.
Start so much shit, but okay.
Well,
I hope you're listening to this, by the way.
I'm sure he'll hear it. Trust me, I'm sure he will.
Eventually, yeah, he will.
I'm sure he'll hear it today if he's not already watching it.
Yeah.
But so moving forward a little bit here, Eddie Vengeance and I Um, we have some animosity between us. That's obviously well known. But
Yeah.
it's more within the competitive spirit. I have respect for Eddie Vengeance. I have respect for Legacy World Wrestling. Obviously, if I didn't have respect for that company, you guys wouldn't be here, Casey and Nick.
Yeah, we wouldn't be on your little podcast.
Right.
Not little, but podcast. Yeah.
I was about to say, you trying to do a heel plug on me now? Like,
Nah, I'm not turning heel. I'm just not gonna continue. I'm not gonna spoil my plans real quick. I'll talk later.
We'll get into that behind the scenes because we're not going to talk about that on podcast. But
Obviously not.
LWW is making waves right now. I mean, you guys have Breakdown coming up. If you guys haven't already had it,
We had it
so-
yesterday, I think.
okay, Breakdown came out yesterday.
Where I happened to beat Charles Storm, you know.
Yeah, I did see that match. That was
the
actually really
pre-show.
good. Very good
whatever,
pre-show
main
match. I'm
event.
surprised they didn't put that on the main card.
I'm main eventing next month, and a match that I can't talk more about, so y'all are gonna get into that next month whenever you see the match.
Well, you're talking a lot about it right now.
Yeah, I am. I'm retarded, but still, yo, I'm getting.
All right,
You gotta get
well,
people who actually wanted to see the match, yo.
let's go ahead and get into the actual match card for the Go Home show for the ones who had actually watched it. Christy Bennett had opened the show against Ember Gray. Had a great match, but it just seemed like Ember didn't have her head in the game in that match, and it was sad to see Ember in that kind of position. I don't know what was going through her head that day, yesterday morning or yesterday afternoon. I don't know what may have happened behind the scenes. She came in and she was ready to go, and then when it came down to match time, she just couldn't deliver. Christy Bennett ultimately had gotten the win. And then management had deemed her as number one contender for Warlock Bex's Women's Championship. And then after that, we had what, to me, was one of the best matches on the Go Home show. And I was absolutely pleased with that as well. I'm actually going to get ready and hop on the YouTube Jones here and go through our archive list here and look through the match card here. Give me 1 second. Let me see here. Go Home show. I'll turn that down. Let's see. Alright, so. And then it was Donnie Vermont versus Dylan Gage. From my understanding, Donnie Vermont was getting ready to sign with LWW.
Ooh, damn.
But
We
I
need
guess
more
that there
people in
was
WWE.
issues in the back. He may have said something that I guess another talent had not liked and found disrespectful, and they decided to not sign him. You guys probably don't know any of the details. I'm sure Eddie Vengeance probably
really
doesn't talk about that. I'm sure. But that match was actually really fucking good. Donnie Vermont ultimately came out in the end and beat Dylan Gage. But Dylan Gage had an opportunity at Sinister Summer, which we'll get into here in a minute, in a triple threat, which was fantastic. That match blew me away. But Donnie Vermont ended up coming over victorious against Dylan Gage in that. And then after that, we had Travis, who is our current opportunity briefcase holder. Now, for those who don't know what the opportunity briefcase means, opportunity briefcase was introduced 3 weeks ago on UWA TV in a Full Metal Mayhem match. The holder of that briefcase, inside of that is three contracts. All right. There's a contract for the TV championship, there's a contract for the tag team championship, and there's a contract for the world championship. You can cash in on any one of those contracts at any time, but it's only one contract that you can cash in on. So your choice has to be definitive. It can be during a UWA TV show. It can be at a pay-per-view. But the person who holds that briefcase pretty much has the opportunity to go for a belt at any time that they please, anywhere. So Travis is the current holder of that. Donnie Vermont and Travis was in the first match to debut that briefcase. Travis beat him. Then Donnie Vermont has had a grudge for him since then. They had their rematch for that at Sinister Summer. Travis won that. He still is the holder of the Opportunity briefcase. So that briefcase can also be exchanged at any time as well, but it has to be exchanged in a Full Metal Mayhem, which is our version of a TLC match. So that was a great match as well. A lot of hard hitting. He faced Nick Indovino in that one-on-one contest. It was absolutely fantastic. And then we had, if you guys don't know, Seth, Casey, and Nick, there's a stable here in UWA that I operate and run. I'm the leader of. It's called the Red Dragon Yakuza. Inside of the Red Dragon Yakuza is myself, Melvin Brown. We have a luchador from El Salvador came in. He made a name for himself in Mexico underneath AAA and Big Lucha by Grime Guillermo. And then we also have West Lightning, since he's our champion, and he swerved on BCW. Seth, I know that you didn't see that coming.
No, I did not.
How shocked
Because he's
were you when
another
you found
guy
that
I
out?
try to stay far away from.
How shocked were you when you found out that he was joining UWA?
I could care less, honestly.
No fucks given towards West Lightning, obviously.
He could beat me 1v1, so it's his loss.
Let Wes hear that, and I know that he will, and I'm sure he's going to have words to say to you in the locker room later, Seth.
Good.
So, and then we have...
I'm going to face this West Lightning guy now.
I would love to see that.
Sure.
And then we have a female competitor within the Red Dragon Yakuza, Crystal Crimson. We had a women's championship tournament last week. Crystal Crimson was a part of that. She was not able to make it to the semifinals. She barely made it out of the quarterfinal. But she's actually looking to go after Ember Gray in BCW and bring the BCW Women's Championship here. Seth, how do you feel about that?
Go for it. I mean, technically, I'm bringing the Hardcore Championship over here.
Hey, I'm not against that. But you know,
I'm still BCW at heart.
And that's perfectly fine here. Just know, coming in here being BCW talent, it's going to be a little harder for you to rise through our ranks. I'm just letting you know.
Your boys have been through worse.
Alright then. But we had a tag team match. The stipulation of the match on the Go Home show was if Red Dragon Yakuza, Melvin Brown, and Grime Guillermo win against our current champions at the time, they are now ex-champions, which is Chaos, Karen Palador, and Zach Morgan. I can tell you that, guys, this right now. These guys are badass dudes. They don't give a shit about anybody. They don't give a shit about management. They don't give a shit about me. And they just go in and they just wreak fucking havoc.
You hear that? Tag teams not giving a fuck.
We accept those. I'm just saying.
Alright. I'll keep that in mind.
But if Red Dragon Yakuza had beaten the champions, they were to get a tag team championship match at Sinister Summer. Unfortunately, my guys couldn't pull through. They lost. It's fine because there's always another opportunity. Melvin Brown has his opportunity next week facing A2J for the TV championship, and I have a feeling Melvin may bring that TV title into the Yakuza, so that would be another championship that we would hold. as you guys know, or probably are guessing by now, we want to be the belt collectors, and that's going to be a thing eventually. I'm just letting you know that now. Just a little bit of a plug on ourselves there. So after that match, and that was a fantastic match. Our tag team matches for championships are normally done elimination style. Gives a little bit of a scare tactic there because, as you guys know, in elimination tags, it can end up being a 2-on-1 situation. And in any other circumstance, that would not be a good look for somebody to be the only dude on their team left facing two other dudes and have to eliminate both of them. It's a little overwhelming at times. But it was very close. Melvin Brown got eliminated first by Zach Morg. Zach Morg got eliminated by Grime Guillermo. And then it was Karen Palador and Grime Guillermo at the end. And Palador ended up coming out with a victory, which led into Sinister Summer, where they faced our now current champions, the Doom Havoc clique of Jason Daniels and Ricky Lee Stonerock. So, but the match after that, which I was very pleased to call and to see, was, let me go ahead and go through the footage here, and we'll get to that here in just a second. That tag team match lasted about 15-20 minutes. So,
like any good tag team match would have.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our match after that, Seth, BCW's talent, Jessica Flynn made her UWA debut on UWA TV, the Go Home show, facing off against our homegrown talent, Amaya Storm. She actually lost. Or no, she beat Amaya Storm. Have you talked, or do you know anything? Are you and Jessica close on the roster over there in BCW? Has she talked to you since her victory against Amaya Storm on our Go Home show?
Well, I mean, you could say that we're close. She's currently with my brother.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a thing after her and Diego broke up.
I heard that had a lot of animosity behind that.
Diego hates the Schmitz.
No, I know he does. He never goes about any other way than to put down heel turn wrestling and to go against you guys. So,
I mean, we didn't talk, but she probably told Sammy about it.
But how do you feel that how do you think she feels about coming off of her debut and a first victory in her debut on UWA TV? How do you think she feels about that, making that strict impact against one of our big faces and big coming up women's star in the UWA women's locker room? How do you think she feels about that?
Well, if it was me, I would be super fucking excited and I'd be bragging about it nonstop.
Well,
that's just me. I mean,
we're gonna have to possibly
I'd say she would.
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to get our journalist crew to talk to her and have a little sit down interview with her, one-on-one, and see what was going through her mind during that match eventually and everything. But that was a great match, a lot of back and forth. Amaya Storm put in a great showing. Hit Jessica Flynn with her. She calls it now the mermaid. I think it's the or no, she calls it the tail whip is what she calls it. It's pretty much like a Canadian destroyer, but a DDT version of it.
It's like a flip DDT?
Yeah, it's a flip DDT out of the corner. It's very devastating. Amaya Storm has put...
That sounds badass.
Yeah, Amaya Storm has put a lot of women away with that. Yeah, so Jessica Flynn kicks out of that, ends up hitting Amaya Storm with her finisher. I don't know what she calls it.
I know it's modified rock bottom.
Yes, it is.
Flatliner.
Yeah, it's like a modified flatliner rock bottom, but she ends up hitting Amaya with that, and wins, pulls out the victory, and that was absolutely amazing. So it was a great show out for her in her debut match. So, let me see here. So we had that, and then leading in to what was supposed to be Diego Riley versus Simon Oxley in a one-on-one encounter. Diego Riley comes in through the back door, wasn't even in the locker room, but he comes in through the back door, dressed and ready to go for his match. It seems like he showed up late to the arena, and just blindsides Simon Oxley. And they have a huge brawl backstage, and we were trying to get security back there to break it up. We tried to get officials back there to break it up, and management was just letting them go. And Simon Oxley ended up getting the better hand of Diego, but there was something that Diego had did that I thought Simon Oxley wasn't going to be able to compete. He had German suplex Simon Oxley onto a fallen ladder backstage in front of our parking lot backstage. And I thought Simon Oxley was going to be done at that point, but he ended up pulling it out, knocking out Diego with his hellish knee. It's pretty much a snap nair into the knee when he kneels down. That's his finisher. One of them, actually. He also has the evil drop, which is like a modified side effect. And ended up putting Diego Riley away from that. And then Diego was actually added to the Fatal 4-Way at Sinister Summer, and he didn't do anything. We talked about Diego, and I'm not going to talk about Diego anymore at the moment.
I talked about him enough.
Yeah. Actually, hang on one second. We got a doorbell ring? I don't know who it could possibly be, but give me 1 second. So, I'm back. Speaking of Diego Riley, he's shown up to our broadcasting building here at the Underground Arena.
How does he want?
He wants to be a part of. He wants to put, I guess, some words in here. I don't know what he has in store to say. We're trying to get him suited up in a mic and everything right now. So speaking of Mr. Diego Riley, here he is. What's going on?
I'm not in a good mood.
What happened?
Okay, LWW. Some certain UWA superstar had to come out and interfere in my match. And if it wasn't for that, I would still be the internet champion over there. Then last night on UWA's pay-per-view, I got screwed. Because Simon, who called me out, couldn't even kick out of a pinfall.
Damn.
And you're bitching why?
Because UWA, I'm not bothered. I proved to Simon that I'm not a pussy, and I beat him backstage. Fair enough. But LWW, yeah, Chris Malenko had no business to get involved in that match.
First of all, you need to watch who the fuck you're talking to, you little punk-ass kid.
Oh, it's getting rough back here.
Because listen, I'm telling you this right now. You may have think that you came in and beat Simon Oxley, but from what I understand and from what I witnessed, he knocked your fucking ass out. And you got knocked the fuck out 7 times in that Fatal 4-Way. You know, you wanted to come in here and you want to talk a whole bunch of shit about UWA and about how non-hardcore we are. Guess what, bud? You saw that firsthand. But
Well, I
have,
find it funny how you kept coming into my DMs trying to get me on your pay-per-views just so you could get a sold-out event.
No, we were sold out way before you were added to the card, bud.
Okay.
Way before. West Lightning sells us out. You don't.
Pick that jobber.
Jobber, but he's our UWA World Champion, though.
For now.
Yeah, for now.
So, and on another thing here, Diego, I have something else to say to you. You want to say that you got screwed? Well, listen, you want to go ahead and take that and feed your little ego with that? That's perfectly fine. Next week, show back up here. Because Simon Oxley is calling you out again. And the match has already been made.
Simon Oxley.
Match has been made. We booked you already, bud. Diego Riley versus Simon Oxley in a falls count anywhere. No holds barred. Non-sanctioned. Full-on hardcore deathmatch brawl. Here in South Philly at the UWA Arena. So if you really want it, keep talking shit. Why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Or are you scared?
I'm sorry, is that meant to scare me? Did you not see what I did to that little jobber backstage before the pay-per-view and during the pay-per-view?
I saw that you got knocked the fuck out.
We didn't see what I did to him backstage, did you?
I did. I plugged you, and I said that you gave him a brutal German suplex. I saw that. But then Simon Oxley knocked you out. So, anything else to say for yourself there, little buddy?
Not really, but just tell that psychopath, Chris Malenko, to stay the fuck away from me.
That ain't happening, bud. You got a long road ahead of you dealing with Chris Malenko. Dealing with me, dude, you called out my whole promotion. You're saying,
Well, I love how
you said my promotion was completely fake. Like, you say that hardcore wrestling is only defined by you. I don't think so.
I'm BCW.
So, but we'll see. But
Well, I find it funny how one of BCW's guys, what's his name, West Lightning, is your top champion. And where's he from? Oh, that's right, BCW.
And yet he turned on BCW to be with UWA full time. So what does that say?
He turned on BCW, yes, but where was his original place?
But he's here now. We've already acknowledged his past accomplishments. He's here now. So everything that you're saying is completely irrelevant, like your career.
Oh, damn, bro. Somebody campfire getting just roasted and shit, you know.
Diego, I had respect for you, but your ego allowed yourself to put yourself on this pedestal, and I don't know why you're up there when you should be in the blackest abyss that ever has existed. You don't belong in the community. Your character is complete contradiction on who you are. You're a paper hardcore champion. And your career is irrelevant to UWA.
Keep talking all this, and I will prove next week, and I will injure Simon Oxley. I will put him in a stretcher. I will end his career. So keep talking. That's just gonna enrage me even more.
Whatever you say, you little jobber. I don't want to hear anymore.
Oh, damn.
So, continue running your mouth. You need to stop running your mouth and put your fucking money where your mouth is in that ring and lay down. Put down in there. Don't put down over here. Don't just run your fucking mouth. Back it up. Because from what I've seen and what I've witnessed and what the fans seen and what the locker room has seen, you can't back anything you say up.
I'm sorry, do you want a match right here, right now?
I'd rather not because I'm off today.
Then shut your mouth.
No, I'm not going to because remember who you're talking to. If it wasn't for me, you wouldn't even had a chance to step foot into UWA. I talked to Bullets about bringing you over here.
I didn't even want to come to UWA in the first place.
Bullets forced you. You had no choice. Because if I remember correctly, he said the same thing. Stop talking shit and back it up. As I hit my vape because you're annoying the shit out of me. And now I'm going to hit my bowl so that way I can calmly try and talk to you now. Because you're getting me riled up. My heart's fucking racing right now. You're lucky I don't reach over this table and just smack the shit out of you like the little bitch that you are.
I like to see you try.
You'll find out. Don't worry about that.
Alright, buddy.
Diego, you're just lucky that there's 3 guys sitting between you and him.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Oh, Seth.
Just gonna take that?
I think you forgot, bud.
I'll show you who I am.
I'm sorry, your name's not really familiar to me.
Oh, man. Diego, if I remember correctly, didn't you and Jessica date, but she dumped your faggot ass for Sammy?
That is correct, yes.
Oh, so you're admitting that you're a faggot ass and she dumped you for Sammy. Damn, dude, the exposition just continues to grow on your name.
But no one cares about that stupid bitch.
Oh, I don't know, man.
I mean...
Ugh.
Plus, Sammy just got my sloppy seconds anyway.
Yeah, at least Sammy can
So while he's there kissing her, he can just remember that I was there first.
At least Sammy's not a jobber.
So,
Oh,
I don't
shit.
know about that. Isn't he in that heel turn wrestling? That stupid league or whatever?
Oh no, actually, because heel turn merged with BCW.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Diego needs to get his facts straight before he comes into our fucking broadcasting booth with his bullshit. And also, by the way, I want to go ahead and give a little instance on why I came after you in LWW. And this is why. For this reason! Because all you do is run your fucking mouth. Somebody has to shut you up. And guess what, bud? That somebody is me. You can't match me in promos. You can't match me in in-ring ability. Shut up. I'm talking. You can't. Shut up, Diego. I'm talking. You can't match me on anything that comes to this business. I'm an owner of my own organization, and I have been in 3 other organizations thus far, and have made an impact. What have you done?
I'm sorry,
champion?
Do you not think
Ooh, I'm scared.
Do you not think Curtis Cyber could have done it on his own?
Yeah, I do. But that's not the reason why I interfered. I didn't interfere on behalf of Cyber. I interfered on behalf of UWA, myself, and the Yakuza. That's why I interfered. And for everybody else that is out here watching that hears your fucking stupid ass young mouth, thinks he's all top shit, come out every single goddamn week on Instagram, on fucking BCW Live, and LWW, and just completely just ridicule everything that stands for this business. You are a joke.
Well, personally, I think UWA is a joke.
Yeah, and that's why you were not able to succeed in either the attacking that you did backstage or the Fatal 4-Way at Sinister Summer.
Well, I'm sorry that I was booked for 2 matches on the exact same night.
So was West Lightning. And he ended up winning.
Who did he face again?
He faced off against Isaac Ward, who
is...
was also a former UWA Tag Team Champion.
And that is?
Like I said, what other title have you held besides the LWW Internet Championship, which really, no offense to Eddie Vengeance, but really doesn't mean anything, and the BCW Hardcore Championship? What else other titles have you held?
I held the BCW Tag Team Championship with
For
Seth
what,
Schmidt.
2 weeks?
Yeah, and then fucking Seth dumped your ass because you're a fucking ego.
Or maybe because he couldn't handle himself.
I'm gonna let Seth take care of
You should
that.
check your history. You should check your history, bud.
Take the booth.
Take the booth, Seth. I'm gonna let you handle that, bud.
How long did you hold the BCW Hardcore Championship?
A week or two.
Yeah, irrelevant.
You know what I'm working on?
What you working on?
Week 3. Already better.
Do you want a medal?
Just started. I mean, he already has a championship, so he doesn't need a medal.
Championships hold your standard. Diego Riley, you as a hardcore champion means nothing. Like your career means nothing.
Yeah, Diego, I don't want a medal. If I wanted anything, I'll go to Teddy's house and I'll get a cookie.
Yeah, exactly. What do you want? You were a hardcore champion. Do you want a cookie?
Cookies are pretty good, actually.
Cookies are
Teddy's
Man,
good.
but I
I'm not gonna lie.
spent another $13 on water.
You don't have to spend? Well, you have to spend actually $20 for water now because you continue to talk shit every single time you open your mouth.
Well,
You're lucky we
All I
even
can
allow
say
you
is
to
you
use
wait
our
for
locker
it.
room. You'd get changed outside.
Oof.
Yeah, you know that locker you used to have back in the back? Mine now.
Yep. He pretty much did what Shayna Baszler did. Came in, ripped your name off, and put his name up there.
give me a moment.
Fucking Diego Riley.
My question is, what happened?
As soon as I heard, what the fuck does he want? I was like, it's gonna be bad.
Some shit's going down. I'm surprised he doesn't talk shit about me and Nick yet.
I'm surprised. I really am.
To him, you're
Like
nobody.
when y'all were
I've
talking
said
about
shit.
the internet
I've said
championship,
shit.
I immediately knew it was irrelevant as soon as I saw that he held
As
it.
soon as I saw that Zach Flame held it, I knew it was relevant. Oh, no,
He's
that's
more
not
about
relevant.
talking shit about Wes
What
and
kind of
me.
tattoo? Who puts a star on their left nipple, dude? What the hell?
That's great.
Like, what are you,
Put a star on my
homo?
right nipple. We could be nipple
What is
bros
that
or some shit.
generic cross on his neck? Like,
Why don't you just buy the fucking...
Oh, it was probably across to signal the end of his career.
Nah,
maybe.
those were the,
Here
those were the ones
lies
stick
my
one
career. Never went off.
Damn.
Diego Riley's a punk.
Mm-hmm.
So, but hey, he wanted to be here. So I'm not one to be like, no, you can't voice your piece. By all means, go ahead, but don't come on to my fucking podcast and start talking shit, because I'm gonna put you in your goddamn place.
You've done a pretty damn good job at that, too.
Thank you, I
You really
appreciate
have.
that.
You're welcome, man.
Irrelevant ass.
Yeah.
It's the only argument I need against him. He's irrelevant. His whole career is irrelevant. Everything about him just fuels my anger because he's not a pro
I'm sorry, who's
wrestler.
wedding?
You're not a pro wrestler, Diego.
Well, funny thing is, I taught my mouth to get attention and to get people talking about me. And what have you all been doing for the past about 20 minutes of this podcast?
Listen, this is what I'll say. You do get a pop.
Exactly.
Congratulations, you get a
You get a
fucking
pop.
pop. You get a pop, bud.
Us here-
Congratulations.
Us here,
Hell
we get the
yeah.
whole fucking shebang.
I don't just get a pop. I get a
Even I
standing
get
fucking
fucking
ovation.
shebang. And I am a fucking noob to all of y'all, so...
But I see you talking shit about me. I see you talking shit about Wes Lightning. I see you talking shit about Seth Schmidt. I see you talking shit about Sammy. I see you talking shit about UWA.
When was the last time I talked shit about Seth Schmidt?
Oh my God, you just did.
Just like 10 seconds ago.
What did I say?
Short-term memory loss too? Damn.
Just feeding more fuel to your fire, bud. You're digging yourself a deeper grave. You were at 6 feet, now you're at like 10.
Not even 10, like 60.
Oh God, that's deep.
Exactly.
That is
Every
fucking
time we
deep.
talk shit, just add another 0.
Oh man. Nah, but Diego, on the real though, we're gonna stop picking on you, bud, because I think I've gotten my fill, and I'm getting kind of bored. Just remember,
So
your career means nothing, and you're irrelevant. Just remember that.
Well, if I'm irrelevant, why are you talking to me?
You wanted to be here, and I'm not gonna be one to say no. I wanted to hear what you had to say. But don't come into my fucking broadcasting booth, into our arena, and fucking start talking shit about me and my fucking show. Because it's not just me who you're disrespecting, it's our whole fucking locker room, including our new signees who are sitting right here.
Sorry, dude.
Well, the thing is, I've never actually liked UWA, so I couldn't give a shit.
That's
Why
bullshit, because I've been in
Why the
my
fuck are you
DMs saying,
here?
oh, UWA is actually pretty awesome. I dig it. Remember, you did commentary with me, and you were like, you know what, after actually watching your show, I really
I'm
do
not
enjoy it.
disrespecting the women.
Oh.
The men, all of the men are just cheap ass pussies.
The women, wasn't you just talking shit about Jessica a little bit ago, too?
Yeah, but if I remember, I think Jessica's a BCW original.
She is.
Okay, but she's still a woman.
And she's still
She's
signed
not
to
a
the UWA roster.
She's not a UWA original, so yeah, difference.
That doesn't matter. She's still signed to
I'm
UWA.
talking shit about all the UWA originals, all the pussies.
All the pussies, and yet you couldn't make it through a whole fucking match with UWA originals in the match and kept getting knocked out. I'm going to continue to go back to this, Diego. Stop setting yourself up for failure. Oh, wait. You do that on a regular basis.
Doesn't set himself up, it already happens.
Karma just follows you in a bad way, and it's because of your fucking attitude, dude. That's it. You want to make a name for yourself in this business, you respect the boys that you work with, and you have no respect for anybody but yourself. And it's sad. Just saying. So. But, moving forward, we're going to talk about the Fatal 4-Way match now, since Diego wants to go ahead and come in here and run his fucking mouth. The Fatal 4-Way match for the TV Championship was absolutely fantastic, even given the fact, and I think this was the best part of the match, that Diego got knocked out and rolled out of the ring almost 8 times during that match, because he just couldn't hold up. But on top of that, Simon Oxley put in a great showing. He did, as Diego said, did get pinned by the former champion, now our current champion, A2J. But I want to talk about a certain spot in this match. Melvin Brown hit Diego Riley with a beautiful go-to-sleep. Oh my goodness. Loved it. The dazed face, priceless.
I'll admit, that was an out of nowhere moment.
I wonder what your thought process was. Maybe you could tell us on what happened after you woke up from that.
Well, I mean, I got hit with a go to sleep. I was out for about, say, 5 to 10 seconds. And when I woke up, I honestly didn't know where I was. Then I looked up, and then I remembered I was in, well, a shit venue known as UWA.
Don't talk shit.
600 feet.
Don't talk shit about the South Philly fans, bud, because they will find you and beat your ass. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania fans are some of the most hardcore fans in any kind of sport.
You're not wrong.
So I'd watch what you say about the fans. The Dudley boys would get into fights almost every fucking week at an ECW show. You're not any different. And the fact that you think you are just appalls me. It makes me almost literally sick to my stomach. Any single time somebody brings up Diego's name, I legit throw up a little bit in my mouth.
Damn.
Well, at least it's good to know you know who I am.
Like I said before, you get a pop from me. But that's the only pop that you're going to get from me.
A pop's a pop.
That is true. A pop is a pop. I can agree with you on that. But like I said, you get a pop. Guys like me, guys like West Lightning, guys like Seth Schmidt, guys like fucking Casey Marr and Nick Rodriguez, they don't get pops. They get standing ovations after their matches. When was the last time you got a standing ovation?
When I won the internet title.
That doesn't mean anything because that championship doesn't mean anything.
Your mom doesn't count as standing ovation.
Yeah, real shit.
It's not just one person that counts.
Well, I remember Jessica gave me a standing ovation.
One person out of a crowd of like 1,000 people does not count.
And damn, we wrecked that hotel room.
1 in 1,000 does not count, bud. So.
They were feeling pity for you, and they were like, might as well just fucking stand up.
It was probably one of these like, oh.
The match is over, let's go.
Can we go on to the next one now? Because I'm bored.
Hey, restroom break.
Legit, when I was sitting there and I had heard Diego Riley was defending his hardcore championship, during that match I actually went and got a beer, ate food, went outside, smoked a cigarette, smoked a bowl, smoked a blunt, and then came back to watch the rest of the show after I found out that he lost.
Oh yeah, Malenko, how did you like my gear before you officially assaulted me?
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good ploy. But then I came in and knocked the shit out of you and all of that, like your career became irrelevant. It's the only argument I need against you, dude. There's nothing that you can say. You have literally done nothing to cement your legacy, no pun intended, in the community. Not one thing. When you win World Championship Gold, then come talk to me. Until that time, I don't care.
World Championship Gold, yeah?
Yeah. World Championship
I remember
Gold.
that. I remember that.
Okay.
I remember that quote.
Nice.
Write it down, take a picture. I don't give a fuck.
Make sure just to tune into BCW every week. Okay.
Oh, I will.
Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, I will. I'll watch.
Look,
But it can't be mid-card belt, dude. It has to be a world championship belt. You hold a world championship belt, maybe, just maybe, I will pop louder for you. Maybe.
Probably not, but you know, maybe.
I mean, there's always a maybe. In this business, people do things, you could hate them, or you can love them, or they could be a tweener. And there's people that things can do that just make you go, oh shit. Not with Diego Riley, though.
well, Chris, aren't you one of the top guys in UWA? Yes or no?
I'm an owner. I don't need to be a top
Fucking
guy.
owns the business. That's not even a question.
I don't need to be a top
You wouldn't go for
guy.
any title.
Last time I checked about it, and I look over the books a lot. I just wrote your last check.
Well, yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you for
did.
that.
Oh, and I paid you very, very well, didn't I? I think it
Yeah.
was almost $3,500 for the night. And you lost!
Well, but I'm gonna sue you for assault and get more money out of you.
You ain't gonna sue me, bud.
Oh, I know people.
No, you ain't gonna happen, buddy.
Is
There were
that
a lot
much
of
of a
Jewish people I know.
you for
And
beating him up
you
and wrestling
want to know
fucking
why?
business?
Listen. You want to know why that's not going to happen? It's because when you signed your contract with UWA for your matches to have here, Everybody does it. There's a waiver involved. Anything that happens to you underneath of UWA is not our fault nor our problem. You get injured, that's on you. You knew what you were hopping into.
What about an Alexi ring?
That's something that Eddie Vengeance needs to do. He needs to make sure that that shit doesn't happen. I have no problems going in and working any type of match. Hardcore match, regular match, steel cage, TLC. Fucking shit. Put me in a no rope straight up fucking MMA ring and I still bet I can beat your fucking ass, boy.
Really?
I bet Chris can beat you too.
Really? I would like to see you try.
Because I made my name in MMA. I was the only one able to dethrone McGregor. So,
Challenge me.
you want it? You want a straight up striking match? I'll give you one. You want a straight up fucking balls to the wall? You want to go hardcore with me? I'll show you fucking hardcore, bud.
Come on, Mr. Hardcore.
Let's do it then.
Mr. Hardcore Icon. But it's not going to be on your time. It's going to be on mine. Because I'm not giving you the satisfaction.
He just challenged you. Why is he scared?
I'm not afraid of you. Trust and believe that, boy. You are like a butterfly compared to the monsters I bring to the ring.
Then prove it.
I just want to say Butterfinger.
Then prove it.
That too.
I'll prove it on my time. You'll find out soon.
Okay then. But don't come up from behind me and attack me.
I can't make any promises, bud.
Come to
Sorry.
me. Come to me man to man, face to face.
See, I tried that, and what did you try and do? Low blow me. Guess what? And I blocked it. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. You're too predictable.
Loves touching balls, doesn't he?
Remember that.
Just remember, when my diabolic knee hits you, and you wake up seeing stars, and realize that the whole crowd has left at that point, maybe you'll earn some respect. But until that time,
maybe when I go to you, hit you with a super kick, knock you out on that canvas.
Do you know how many super kicks I've been hit with in my time frame? I've been doing this community shit now for about 3 years. I've been hit with thousands of super kicks. Had to wire my jaw shut and get fucking steel-plated bottom jaw put in. I sincerely doubt your kicks are gonna even phase me, bud.
My kick is one of the deadliest kicks.
And my knee is one of the deadliest knees. Look what happened to Del Perro. Or Perro de la Noche. Whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, Perro del Noche. I don't know.
Perro de la Shelft is exactly what his name should be.
Damn.
Because that's exactly what I did when I came in my first day in BCW. I took out the biggest dog in the yard.
That you did.
Legit, because Perro, direct translation from Spanish, means dog. If you didn't know that.
True.
Yeah, Night Dog.
But Night Dog, but
Yep.
you know, still dog.
But still a dog.
Something about a dog, yeah.
He was a dog who was a champion, which and therefore made him the biggest dog in the yard. And I shelved him.
Oh.
He couldn't hold up. His jaw was glass just like yours is. And I know it. That's why you go for cheap shots. And I want to utilize that. I know what your weaknesses are, Diego. So when the time comes, on my time, you'll find out.
Well, I faced you twice. I've faced you well enough. I know exactly what your weaknesses are too.
You need to do a lot more fucking research on me, bud, because I'm not that easily readable. Trust and believe that. I
By the way, you
almost
missed
I
the spot
almost
on your
beat
top.
Jacob Cole for the BCW championship. I lost. And I'm going to say this now. Jacob Cole is by far one of the best in the business.
I can agree.
beat me.
I can agree with that.
You cannot beat Jacob Cole.
I can agree with that.
And I'm telling you that right now. If you can't beat Jacob Cole, I know for a fact you ain't beating me.
But West
So.
Lightning, that's a different story.
No one was talking about West Lightning.
Every single
Why
time
did you
you
bring a
hop
lot?
onto a fucking microphone, dude, your West Lightning's name is steady in your mouth. Hop off of dude's dick. Take dick
His
out of
name
mouth
ain't
and
Dick,
spit.
so keep it out of your mouth.
Well, I find it funny how they say it's the same thing with Simon Oxley.
Simon Oxley fucking knocked you out.
Yeah, he proved it, I'll admit that. But every time he got onto a microphone, it was either me or some other jobber.
Yeah. And you
Some
want to know
other
why
jobber,
he...
so there you go. He just called himself a jobber.
Jobber. Exactly.
At least he's admitting to things now.
I'm
Oh,
sorry,
man.
Seth. What have you actually accomplished since you left BCW?
Fucking more than you ever have.
Go on, list.
Intercontinental champion.
Irrelevant. Go on.
Not really.
Says the hardcore
Keep
champion.
going.
Says the hardcore champion, which is by far one of the
No,
lowest
let's
championship
speak,
belts on the
let's
totem
speak.
pole.
Let's speak.
That belt didn't need to exist.
I don't need to speak. I
Exactly.
don't
Then
need to speak
shut
to
your
you.
mouth and sit there and listen to us, you bitch.
Ooh. Are you just gonna take that?
I wouldn't take that.
I'll use it against him.
Eventually,
Just
one
wait.
day.
You might
Because if you
regret
don't
saying
knock
that.
him He'll feel my fucking super kick.
And Seth's super kick is a lot more deadly.
I'm sorry, Seth, but the last time we faced, who came out victorious?
Counting last time we faced, it was a fatal 4-way. Not you.
No, I'm on about one-on-one.
Not you.
Well, that's a lie.
Unless you have proof to show us it's alive, and I'm not gonna believe you.
I remember hitting you with that jumping DDT and pinning you and winning that match.
See, and that's how much
Whatever
Seth
you
doesn't
believe.
care because he doesn't remember. So obviously that match meant nothing to him. So, but moving on, because this podcast made a turn for the worse since Diego's podcast showed up.
It's made a turn to talk about me. I'm Reverend.
Because you shut up. She talks shit about all of us. So,
Make me
except for
relevant.
me and Nick, you know.
Thank you.
But
Oh man, you're starting problems with the wrong two people now. Because I'm telling you, Casey and Nick are not going to take that shit.
and you know damn well we aren't, so that's the funny thing.
I don't know. It may turn into a 3v1 match sometime soon.
Nah, make that a 4v1, dude.
Oh man, I feel so bad. But anyway, we're going to move on now since we got sidetracked.
Horribly.
So, Sinister Summer was a fantastic pay-per-view. I appreciate everybody that had came through and watched it live, and everybody who came through and watched it after the fact. Awesome, thank you so much. But to start off the match start off the pay-per-view was that fatal 4-way. Simon Oxley did lose. He did get pinned by A2J. A2J is now our current TV champion. And then moving forward into the next match on the card, which was the opportunity briefcase match between Donnie Vermont and Travis. Hard hitting, back and forth. Donnie Vermont went through a fucking table. Absolutely fantastic. Travis ended up knocking him out in the ring and pulling down the opportunity briefcase. So Travis has a shot at any championship belt besides the women's championship belt, obviously, at any time he pleases, at any show that we're at. And then after that match was... Give me 1 second. I want to look at my notes here. Was a grudge match between Amaya Storm and Cassidy Warren. These two ladies have been beefing out now for a very long time. Amaya Storm actually came out victorious in that match. Cassidy Warren just cannot seem to reach her ceiling because she has so much potential, but not being able to defeat a UWA homegrown talent. So Cassidy Warren is going to be moving forward. I'm sure that Amaya Storm and Cassidy Warren will meet up again. Then after that match, we had another women's match, which was the women's championship in a steel cage, Christy Bennett versus Warlock Bex. And man, was this match one-sided for the first part of the fucking match. It was Warlock Bex pretty much the whole way. Christy Bennett came out of nowhere, head of steam, and ended up knocking out Bex, climbing over the cage, and becoming UWA Championship after winning her debut match against Ember Gray and her debut pay-per-view match. And she is now our women's champion. They have a rematch coming up this next weekend in a Full Metal Mayhem for the women's championship. So that's going to be really good. And then we had our tag team championship match. We had back-to-back championship matches on the card. Tag team championship, Full Metal Mayhem between the Doom Havoc Clique and Chaos. Doom Havoc Clique ended up beating Chaos. They are now our tag team champions. And then we had a triple threat #1 contendership for the TV title, which is going to be contested not next week, but at our next pay-per-view, given who wins in the TV championship match next Saturday. AJ King versus Chris Mad Dog versus Dylan Gage, and this match was awesome. This was the longest match on the card. It lasted about 15 minutes. Dylan Gage ended up coming out victorious. He came into the match as an underdog. So did AJ King. I thought Chris Mad Dog was going to take it because dude's like 6'5" and like 290 something pounds, straight muscle, and he's scarred the fuck up. This dude has been in Japan in death matches. He's been in Germany doing death matches. He's been in the UK. He worked for Progress. He worked for Evolve. Then he came over to the States, and he worked for Combat Zone Wrestling for a little bit. He worked for Game Changer Wrestling for a little bit, House of Hardcore. Then now he's here. I really thought Chris Mad Dog was going to take this match. Dylan Gage ended up pulling it out and pinning Chris Mad Dog at that matter. So that's going to be a nice little rivalry moving forward. And then we had the Cage of Death match. This is what I want to talk about here, and I've gotten questions already from the fans and everything, because I run management decisions from the back. So I want to go ahead and explain this match. Isaac Ward beat West Lightning clean on UWA TV on the Go Home show before the pay-per-view. I was okay with that. All right. The match starts. West Lightning hits him with a Lightning Zen, and I thought that was going to be the end of it. It wasn't. Isaac kicked out.
Damn.
So Isaac ended up hitting his beheading, which is an axe kick that he does. 5 minutes into the match, pins West Lightning. I feel the match didn't go as long as what the fans would have wanted. So I made the decision to restart the match. I told the booker and the rest of the management team, along with the officials, that the match needs to be restarted. It didn't go long enough. And I feel that these two guys could have put in a better match if given longer time. So the match was restarted. It was back and forth. West Lightning hits Isaac Ward flat out the gate with another Lightning Zen. Goes for the pinfall. Isaac kicks out again. So that's two Lightning Zens. And he kicked out of both of them. Isaac Ward, I will say this, has a lot of resiliency.
I was actually shocked at that point.
Yeah. So throughout the match, Isaac had the upper hand. Wes had gotten the turnaround. Ended up hitting Isaac Ward with a super kick. Fantastic super kick by Wes. Ends up picking him up. Hits him with a Lightning Zen, but he doesn't stop there. He picks him up again, and he hits him with a Brainbuster. And then he picks him up again, and hits him with another Lightning Zen.
Damn.
Ultimately putting away Isaac Ward. and retaining the UWA World Championship. Here's where the controversy apparently lies. Isaac Ward woke up right after the bell had rang and was like, what the absolute fuck? I'm sorry, but the referee's decision is final. Some people may call me a hypocrite. Some people may say, you know, then Isaac Ward should technically be champion. But let me explain something about Isaac. Isaac made a name for himself in tag teams. We had to release Jimmy Havoc. He was in the midst of doing more things in different companies, so we released him. He could not fit in within the time schedule any longer. So we came to mutual agreement. We wished him best of luck on his future endeavors. We signed the paperwork. Jimmy Havoc was released. Isaac Ward took it upon himself to interject himself into singles competition when we had another partner lined up for him to continue on the tag team. He never came to my office. He never stepped foot and tried to talk to me. And he just wanted to do whatever he wanted. And he won his first few matches. And then he faced Wes and he beat Wes. Awesome. I'm behind the guy. It's great. But the one thing that I'm not behind, like how I'm not behind Diego, to me it seems like Isaac has an ego. Isaac's been a baby face here for a very long time. We know he's a really nice guy behind the scenes, but it just seems the anger has gotten to him, and it's been making him lose focus. He's not ready to be champion. Not unless he's working with somebody else. Isaac may think differently, but that's how I think. And unfortunately, how other people may see it, I may be a dictator or whatever, but this is my fucking company, and this is how I wanted it to be. Isaac Ward does not deserve that belt yet. When the time has come for him to actually step up and be a champion, then we will give him that opportunity. But until that time, he does not belong in the championship, world championship contendership right now. So, some people may say I screwed Isaac Ward. I don't think so. Isaac Ward screwed Isaac Ward by allowing him to have a big head. I didn't do that.
You got a point there.
So. But West Lightning is our current champion, and he has his next championship match coming up at Blood and Gore, which is our next big pay-per-view next month. And we have not decided on a champion for him yet, so you're going to hear this here first, guys. 2 weeks, we will have a six-man battle royal to determine a #1 contender for West Lightning's UWA World Heavyweight Championship. And we will come out with those competitors later on this week, leading into the show for this week, and that match will be confirmed after next Saturday for sure. The contracts will be sent out and everybody will sign them. So,
Alright.
but for our pay-per-view, that was a fucking blast. I really enjoyed everybody who watched it. For the ones who did watch it, ultimately overall, on a scale of 10, where would you rate Sinister Summer? And I want to talk to Diego first, because, you know, I always love to hear what he has to say.
I'm gonna be honest. Apart from, you know, my loss, obviously, I kind of enjoyed Sinister Summer the whole thing through. The main event was just, you know, it kind of lived up to the hype, but obviously not the first match before it got restarted. So, I'll rate it 7.
Okay. I can dig that. It's above the where I thought you were gonna put it. So
Where do you think he was gonna put it?
I thought he was gonna say like a 1.
The same here.
But he
That's
surprised me. So yet again, Diego, you get a pop from me.
I'll give credit where it's due.
Okay. I appreciate that, bud. So Seth, I know that you're probably going to go through and watch it again later. But for what you had seen, what did you think of Sinister Summer?
Being dead honest, from the few matches that I did see, counting I didn't see all of them, I'm going to give it a good 8.5.
All right, awesome. I appreciate that. Casey?
I can't rate it because I haven't watched it yet, so.
Okay. Well, make sure
Whenever
that
I
you go
watch
ahead and
it,
do
I'll
that
tell
today.
you. I'll try to, yeah.
All right.
Fuck.
Nick, I know that you probably haven't seen it yet. But if you wouldn't mind checking it out here on the YouTube Jones and just let me know what your rating is going to be, I'd highly appreciate that, bud.
You do?
All right, awesome. So I want to go ahead and thank everybody that has joined me on the podcast today, including our little interruption, but it made for good banter. Diego Riley, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
I also like to thank Seth Schmidt. Congratulations on getting signed, bud. We love to have you here and can't wait for you to have your debut match in 2 weeks.
Same.
So as we didn't really get a chance to talk about, but we got a Fatal 4-Way showcase happening next week. And these two men, Casey Marr and Nick Rodriguez, will be in that match, facing off against Jesus Perez and who did we just add to that match?
Nick.
We did add Nick, but there was another person that was in that match.
Mike
Storm.
Whatever his name is.
Mike Storm.
Storm. I was going to say Smith.
So, Casey and Nick, I know you guys are good friends, and I understand that. I would love to see some tag team going on in that match. But remember, this is pure competition, so make sure that you guys put your guys' friendship and stuff to the side ultimately, and at the end of the day, I just want you guys to put on a great program.
We have had a pretty intense match in WWE, so we're pretty good at putting our stuff aside.
All right, awesome. Well, I can't wait to see what happens from that. So, thank you for everybody that has joined in and watched. We really do appreciate it. This has been another installment, episode 2 of the Underground Wrestling Alliance podcast, where you can find all of your news and information on Underground Wrestling Alliance 2K, and also find out any other wrestling news, because we just don't talk about UWA. We do go in and talk about other things. That's just not what this episode was about. So, UWA Live, UWA TV is actually going to be next weekend, June 30th. Probably around 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure that you guys tune in. And can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. So, and BCW is on every Sunday. Plug City here. Plug City.
Gotta mention that.
7 p.m. Eastern.
Yep.
Times and everything.
Hey man, Plug City. I can't really say anything else about it. But thank you guys for joining in. Thank you guys for being on the panel today. Appreciate it, and can't wait to see what you guys do here. And Diego Riley, you're still a punk ass bitch, and just thought I'd let you know that. So have a nice day, guys.